Welcome back. All right, so hockey's done for tonight. Now, there were two games on, so I thought what I'll do, I'll have one in this column, one in this column, and that way I can fill two columns if need be. And of course, because there were just the two games on, I take a lot more notes, and we end up with two columns for each game. So, all right, and that's how that works. All right, so starting off with the New York Rangers at home against the Boston Bruins. It was Georgiev versus Rask, and it's notable because this is Georgiev's first start since the whole D'Angelo thing happened, so he's back in net, and I thought he played well. Grzelcyk and DeBrusk were also back for Boston. DeBrusk had a great game, one of the best games he's had, I think, this season. So we get a fast start. No whistles, very little in the way of shots, definitely not dangerous shots. The first whistle was at 6 minutes and 14 seconds, and it was icing by the Bruins. I was becoming convinced we were going to go a full 20 minutes without a whistle. And you know what? It was kind of fun to watch. Krejci then gets shaken up. He would not leave the game, but he got shaken up. The shots halfway through the period were 2-1 in favor of the Rangers, and this game was flying. This is the Rangers style of hockey. On Monday, I think they had 8 whistles in the first period of that game, and this one, fast game too. Marchand, then there was a home run pass towards him that was a near miss. Keep that in mind because that comes up again later. No sustained pressure at either end of the rink. Both teams playing very, very well defensively. Krejci, as I said here, he does stay in the game. Buchnevich hits the side of the head, or hits the side of the net, I should say. And then Zibanejad had a good chance and decided to pass the puck. But I think Zibanejad, this was probably his best game of the season. So if you're frustrated that Zibanejad's not scoring, the best encouragement I can give you is he's getting chances. So Gauthier scores his first NHL goal from Lemieux at 13 minutes and 50 seconds, I should say. And that makes it 1-0 for the Rangers. They have the lead. And the Bruins have been fighting from behind. Now, I don't know how long they can keep this up. I don't. I legit look at this and it makes me concerned a bit. Because you see a team, come from behind victories and fans can get all excited about it. For me, I say, let's try starting the game really well. Because eventually the defense is going to tighten up. And those comeback victories are going to be harder to get. Bruins get a power play. DeBrusk had the best chance as it expired. It was actually a very good penalty kill there by the New York Rangers. Second period. Early chance for Coyle is saved. The Bruins had the early edge. Georgiev stopped a shot from Bergeron. The shots were actually 5-0 for the Bruins 5 minutes in. So this is where the Bruins turn it on. And again, concerning that they don't have that in the first period. DeBrusk had a shot that was stopped. I think he had like 8 shots in this game. Some ridiculous total. The Bruins pressed at 6.5 minutes. It's the Bergeron line doing that. Strome then had a break. The Rangers end up getting a power play out of it. Rask robbed Zibanejad, and then the puck goes the other way. And it's Chris Wagner scoring shorthanded at 9:41. So you've always got to watch for shorthanded goals against the Bruins. And then made it a 1-1 tie. And then Corrali almost got a shorthanded goal right after that. So if you're a Rangers fan, that's concerning. That they not only allowed the one shorthanded goal, they almost allowed 2 on the same power play. The Rangers then press at 11 minutes. The Bruins got some pressure as well. It draws a power play. Pastrnak ends up hitting the post during that. Zibanejad then had a really good chance shorthanded that was denied as the Rangers tried to push for a shorthanded goal of their own. Corrali then had a shot with 10 seconds left, which was saved. And we go to the third period tied at 1. Bruins get some early pressure. Panarin was on the bench. He had a one shift that was 1 minute and 8 seconds long, and he was on the bench for a while, and he was definitely hurting. Post then for DeBrusk, really close to being in. In fact, the light came on, and I thought it was in, but on the replay, you couldn't see it across the line. It looked like it landed right on the line. It was very, very close. It's one of those ones that I'm sure there were people watching this review that are pretty sure it was in. And again, it was so very, very close to being in the net for sure, but again, there wasn't an angle that showed it was in, so they ended up saying no goal. Lafreniere then to Gauthier. Rask makes a big save, so Gauthier almost had his second game of the season, second goal of the season in the same game as he got his first, and Lafreniere almost got his first assist on the same play. There, that's what I was trying to say. Things get kind of scrummy in front of the Rangers bench, and then it's Bjork. He gets a goal from DeBrusk and Kevin Miller at 9 minutes. And that kind of came out of nowhere. At least to me, I thought, the Rangers, they've got some good momentum at that stage, and then Bjork gets a goal. Then Boteto and Wagner had kind of a fight. I don't know. It's one of these fights that I guess technically it's a fight, but you get the feeling that they really could have gone at it, and they really sort of didn't. But yeah, so that happens. Then Pastrnak had a chance that was stopped. And then Rooney scores, but immediately the Bruins say, yeah, that's a high stick. So they review it, and it ends up counting. So they did review the goal, but it ends up counting because Rooney gets the goal, Lemieux and Lindgren the assists at 11:23. It did go off of a high stick for Lemieux, but it then bounced off of a Bruins defender to Rooney, and Rooney put it in. So because it bounced off of a Bruin to Rooney, the goal counts. Otherwise, it may have come off the board, because even that on the replays, there were some that looked like it was above the crossbar, and some that looked like it wasn't. So really close call. Strome then hits the post. It was almost 3-2 for the Rangers. The Rangers get a power play, and they had the momentum at this stage of the game. Panarin was then on the ice for the power play. Marchand was stirring things up, getting in everybody's face, getting everybody off their game. It's what he does. As long as he's not getting a penalty for doing so, I'm okay with it. Marchand to Bergeron then almost clicked. So that almost ended it right there. The Rangers pressed with 2.5 minutes left, but we end up going to overtime. In overtime, Fox saved a chance from Marchand. Marchand should have scored there. Adam Fox makes the save. McAvoy stopped a Rangers 2-on-1, and then he and Bergeron both touched the puck, and McAvoy's the one that passes up to Marchand, who's all by himself, and he scores at 36 seconds. All of that happened in 36 seconds. So Marchand almost gets a goal, doesn't, and then he does. So the final score is 3-2 in overtime. Boston had come into this 7-0-1 in their last 8. They're now 8-0-1 in their last 9, 9-1-2 altogether. The Rangers dropped to 4-5-3. This was the 700th meeting for these teams. Shots were 6 apiece in the first period, and then 19-14 Boston in the second, as they both discovered the net. 15-6 in the third in favor of the Rangers, who pushed really tough break for them, because in the overtime there's just the one shot for Boston. It goes in the net. Final shot's 35-32 for the Rangers. Both teams 0-for-2 on the power play. Boston with the shorthanded goal. Rask saved 33 out of 35. Ho-hum night for him. It's interesting how when Rask gets a night like this, I don't think he gets the credit he should for playing really well. People just wait for him to allow that goal so they can jump on him. Georgiev, 29 saves on 32 shots. He had a very good game. Georgiev was solid tonight. One of the best games he's had all year. Faceoffs, 69% in favor of Boston. Boston's very good on the faceoffs. The Rangers are not. So that's a predictable result. These teams will meet again on Friday. Hits were 29-21 for the Rangers. Blocks were 17-9 for the Rangers. So, yeah. This was a pretty good game. And the other good game was Toronto and the Montreal Canadiens. And early on, this looked like Montreal against Vancouver. It did. The first whistle was 7 seconds in. I had that because this one, the first whistle's at 6:14. This one, the first whistle's at 7 seconds. So I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit different game. Armia was back for this one, and Perry stayed in the lineup. So the idea that Armia going in means Perry comes out, nope. We'll see if there's any lineup changes for their next game, which is tomorrow. Anderson scores on the first shot from Drouin at 1:16, so I'm sure the relief fans going, that's it. That's it. Anderson doesn't have it tonight. That's it. We're in trouble. But in reality, Anderson was pretty good. Although, he did misplay a puck after that, and it almost became 2-0. So again, there may have been some Leaf fans saying, this isn't the good Freddie tonight. We may be in trouble. Mikheyev then had a break. He shoots wide. The shots were 4-1 for Montreal 5 minutes in. Montreal was in total control. And again, it could have been 2-0. There were some good plays going on there, and it looked like this could be a blowout, right? The Habs pressed at 6 minutes, total puck control for them, and they were forcing turnovers, which is their favorite thing to do against a Vancouver Canuck team, and some other teams they've been able to do this to as well. The Leafs were stuck on just one shot. Marner had a chance that went high. The Habs get a power play, and it felt like this was part of what changed the momentum. It had 0 shots. So Montreal's power play, ineffective tonight. Spezza then hit the outside of the post. And this was after Price had made a big save, which was only the second shot. But Price with a big save there. And Price, his career against Toronto, his numbers aren't that great. And it's one of those oddities where Toronto hasn't necessarily been fantastic while Price has been there, but his career numbers have been poor against Toronto. Pressure then drew a second Leafs power play after they had a power play that had 2 shots, and Price denied Marner. Marner would be kept off the board tonight, so his point streak is over. But we go to the second period, Montreal's up 1-0, and they did seem to be the better team in that first period. And they were in the second as well. The shots were 3-1 for the Leafs at 3 minutes. But then it starts to change after a scary giveaway by Price. Price was guilty of a giveaway that they recovered from. Tavares was down and he stayed in. What happened was he took a stick to the face as he's going down. Weber then elbows him on basically in the back of the neck here. And it looked like his face scraped on the ice. He got up, he was bloodied. It wasn't a pretty picture. Yeah, and again, it wasn't on purpose, but Weber, he's a big guy. And so if he's got his weight on you and he's pressing your face into the ice, that's likely where the bleeding started. So that happened, and the Habs pressed at 7 minutes, and then Tavares was taken out. Likely the concussion spotter going, he needs to be out for a bit, because it had taken Tavares a while to get up from almost having his head squashed like a grape. That's kind of how that works. End-to-end action, few chances for either team, as both defenses were playing well at that stage. The Habs press, they get a power play. Perry had a chance that went wide, and the Leafs did manage to kill it off. The Leafs pressure, the Habs with some good shot blocks in that instance, and then there's a dog pile at the Leafs net. It's always nice when there's a dog pile. Extended 4-on-4 play, and that seemed to favor Toronto tonight, didn't it? So during the 4-on-4, Tavares comes back into the game, and he gets onto the scoreboard right away. His first shift back on the ice. Dermott scores his first of the year from Muzzin and Tavares at 15-18. It went over Price's shoulder. He had no chance. The Leafs tie it. And then Anderson stopped a late chance from Drouin. So Toronto gets outshot badly in the second, but they get the 1 goal, and it's a tie game. Third period, pretty evenly played, but we have 4-on-4 to start the third. And the Leafs control it again. And they score again, 4-on-4. Hall scores his first of the season from Tavares and Muzzin at 150. So Tavares likes to play 4-on-4. The Leafs like 4-on-4 hockey, and they score twice to get the lead. And then it's less than a minute later that Mikheyev scores. That's his 4th of the season from Kerfoot and Hyman at 2:32. And then the Leafs decide, you know what? Why don't we just keep going? We'll just try for another one. So they've got a 3-1 lead out of nowhere. And they tried for another. And this is Carey Price's struggles against the Leafs. And I can't put this on Price. I can't. But again, the career numbers for Price against Toronto are not fantastic. It's not as bad as Tuukka Rask against the Capitals, because I don't think anything is as bad as Tuukka Rask against the Capitals. I think a Comet against the Sun has a better chance than Rask against the Capitals. Hyman then had a chance that was stopped. Anderson had a stop on Kotkaniemi there. The Habs press at the half, but it was not sustained pressure, and they weren't getting a lot of shots on net during that pressure. Anderson made a couple of saves with 8.5 minutes left. Sherratt had a chance that deflected wide. Romanov had a point shot that was saved, and then Marner had a chance that went wide. So it's some good back-and-forth action, some near misses at both ends. And then Tatar scores from Sherratt and Romanov at 16:40. And you could see Sheldon Keefe look at it, and you could see him kind of hemming and hawing on, could I challenge that for goalie interference? He rightfully chose not to challenge it. I don't think he would have got the call there, and then the Leafs would have been killing a penalty. So the Habs press for the tie. Price robbed Nylander. Nylander got a Phil Snake bit on that one. So the goalie pull was also delayed by the Leafs. It's something I've seen in a few games over the last week where they know a team's trying to get the goalie out. So they just bring it out to center. They rag the puck a little bit, delay them getting the goalie out, delay the 6-on-5. It just makes a lot of sense to do it that way, and it worked. So when they finally got Price on the bench, they're probably a little bit more rushed to their game than there should have been. The Leafs do get it. It's Muzzin to Matthews. Hyman finishes it off at 18:56. So I believe Matthews is on an 11-game point streak thanks to that assist on the empty netter. That made it 4-2. They would pull the goaltender again, but it wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to score two goals in the last minute against Toronto. Toronto played very well defensively tonight. The shots in this one, 9-6 Montreal in the first, 13-6 Montreal in the second, 13-12 Montreal in the third. Final shots 35-24 in favor of Montreal. Both power plays went 0 for 2 tonight. Anderson, 33 saves on 35 shots. Much like Rask right here. Exact same number of saves on shots. And Anderson, much like Rask, people just wait for him to fail. So when he has a game like this tonight, people go, yeah, but. And it's weird to me because almost any other goalie in the league, when they have a really good game and they win a game, people say, wow, he had a good game tonight. But with Rask and Anderson, you will always hear the yes, but. And it's usually, well, it's not a game 7. Well, it's not a playoff game. Well, yeah, but when it's a big game, that's where Rask falls apart. Well, yeah, but wait until Anderson's in a playoff atmosphere. And then I don't understand it. We don't say that with a lot of other goaltenders in the league who may have had struggles from time to time in the playoffs. Price saved 20 out of 23 for Montreal. The faceoffs were 52% in favor of Toronto, so they were close. Hits were 19 apiece, so that was close. And the blocks, Toronto actually shot blocked more than Montreal. 18-9 was the final tonight for that. So that's a lot of shot attempts by Montreal. And Montreal has an extra game before they meet Toronto again on Saturday, which will be Hockey Day in Canada. Hockey Day in Canada is going to be weird this year because it's always Hockey Day in Canada because every time Canadian teams play, they're playing against each other. So just act like it's different this year because it's a big deal, but every day's Hockey Day in Canada. It's like I'm sure they'll have Hockey Day in America too, right? And then we have to act like, oh, American team's not playing a Canadian team, like it's happened all year. So yeah, act like it's this big deal, and we'll see how it works. And I want to throw this in at the end as well. It looks like we are going to get Anaheim and Vegas tomorrow, so I will set up that board tonight for the preview tomorrow on the assumption we will have 10 games tomorrow. Fingers crossed that it does happen, because we've already got 4 that are postponed from tomorrow's schedule. But these were the only 2 that were scheduled. We now have 2 scheduled for Friday as well instead of 1, because Arizona and St. Louis have decided to play each other for 15 straight games. They'll just play each other for the rest of the season. Sure, why not? Arizona and St. Louis should be their own division. They can just play each other for the rest of the year. And there you go. All right, let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.